With me right now, Senator James Lankford. Senator Lankford, I do want to talk to you about what's going on with the Supreme Court, but first on this Omicron, I'm wondering if you could tell our listeners what you're worried about, if anything, about this.
Well, we don't know a lot about it at this point, and that's the biggest challenge right now. Everyone seems to be panicking, going, "Oh my gosh, there's a new Greek letter that's been attached to the word COVID. This is the worst case scenario for everything." All that we know is that it's transmittable and that it's moving. We don't know if it's more lethal. We don't know if it's anything different at this point. And so again, this is the most basic of things. People can watch out for this. They pay attention to it. They take care of their hand washing and all those things that we've talked about for a long time on it. I encourage people to get the vaccine, but also tell people it's their choice to be able to do that. No one in the world should be able to mandate them to be able to do it. And as we're seeing with the courts, finally the courts are stepping up and actually taking this on, where they're knocking these mandates down from the Biden administration that he has handed out.
Well, I mean, they are. And first, when it comes to contractors, then when it comes to nurses, Medicaid, and Medicare, and then also when it comes to private companies, this OSHA cannot oversee it. As of right now, these courts have ruled against the Biden administration. Why doesn't he just go with his original statement? Americans are not going to tolerate these mandates.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to follow through on mandates. Americans don't like being told what to do. We're pretty stubborn people, and quite frankly, it's what's made us the most successful people in the entire world. And because we work exceptionally hard and we take personal responsibility for our actions, and that's the right way to be able to take this. So for us as a country to be able to live under a mandate, we think the Chinese live under mandates. The North Koreans live under mandates. We're Americans. We don't live under mandates. That's not how it works for us.
But in Oklahoma, your National Guard has stood up and said, we will not take this vaccine. We don't want to be under the auspices of the federal government and the military. Everyone's got to get vaccinated. So they said they're not going to pay your National Guardsmen. Where do you stand?
Yeah, that is absolutely the wrong thing to be able to do. And in fact, we have a piece of legislation to be able to push back on that exact issue, to be able to cut off the National Guard and say we're not going to pay you if you don't take this vaccine. Here's how the National Guard works. The National Guard is under a governor's authority. So they have a commander-in-chief that's the governor of their state. That's the state militia. And then that National Guard itself is under the governor's control unless they're activated and they're actually sent over to Afghanistan or wherever it may be on federal offices. Then they go under leadership of the President of the United States. But while they're in the state, they're under governor's control. Our governor, Governor Stitt, has done a great job articulating this and to be able to make the argument on it to say, I'm not going to mandate that the troops that are in Oklahoma Command actually have to take this vaccine. If they get activated into federal control, then yes, they're under federal control, and they're just like every active duty military. But currently, they're under state control, and they do not have to do that. That's the right thing to do, and we need to continue to be able to protect it. And I've got legislation that we're dropping and working to be able to get consent to be able to put in and to actually make sure that we're protecting our National Guardsmen.
Another reason why you got to get into the majority, because unless you get any Democratic support, it will die, correct?
It will, but quite frankly, I'm challenging every single Democrat to say, are you trying to be able to cut off the pay from every one of National Guard members in your state as well? Because nationally, the National Guard is still less than 50% vaccinated. This has been one of those untold stories where they keep saying that there's 80% of federal employees in different areas that have been vaccinated. Go, great. Well, the National Guard is not, and this becomes a military readiness and an issue that if suddenly we have to activate the National Guard nationally, and that Biden is saying, I'm going to fire you or not pay you or kick you out of the National Guard unless you're doing this vaccination when you're under state control. That is absolutely absurd.
Does your staff have to get vaccinated?
My staff does not have to get vaccinated, and one of the reasons for that is because we're in the legislative branch. The president can't control the legislative branch just like he does in the judicial branch. So judges in courtrooms are not having to follow this mandate, and the legislative branch doesn't follow this mandate. And quite frankly, the courts have been great to be able to step up and say private companies don't fall under this mandate, as the president tried to do. And then now also CMS folks and the folks that work in healthcare areas don't have to follow this mandate because the president doesn't have the authority to do that either. And so the president made all these great speeches and declarations, and he's finding out quickly that he can't actually enforce that because we're the United States of America.